Saturday saw day 2 of the spring meetings of the International Monetary Fund and World Bank Group in Washington. Finance ministers, central bank governors and economists from more than 180 countries and regions are discussing the future of the global economy, structural reform of emerging economies and geopolitical risks triggered by the crisis in Ukraine. For more on that, let's cross live to our reporter Zhou Ying in Washington. Hello Zhou Ying, tell us some major items on spring meetings agenda.
Well, hello, Pandeng. The most important message that I got from the meeting is the world economy is getting better. I've been covering the spring meeting for the past 3 years, and this is clearly the very first time in recent years focusing on growth. And before, they were all about crisis, collapse, and challenges. And the United States is coming back to the spotlight with the country slowly strengthening, becoming a major impulse to global growth. But even though green shoots are evident from the economic recovery, both the IMF and the World Bank believe that it is too early to declare victory, as the recovery is still fragile and there remain many downside risks. Well, the first risk is the excessively low inflation in the Eurozone that could lead to deflation, and the IMF has urged the ECB to take stimulus package to push prices up. Well, besides, there has been signs of slowing down in emerging markets, which is partially caused by the tapering of quantitative easing, making investment in emerging markets less attractive. Well, in this case, the fund has asked the Federal Reserve to exit from the QE as smooth as possible, make clear communication about its future moves, and avoid surprising actions that will bring volatility to the global financial market. Pandeng.
Well, Zoe, now let's talk about some internal issues of the IMF. Its quota and governance reform is a big focus this year. Are we expecting some changes?
Well, during the meeting, finance ministers and central bank governors of the G20 expressed their deep disappointment with the continued delay of the reform caused by the United States. And during an interview with the Vice Governor of People's Bank of China, Yi Gang, he told CCTV that the delay of the reform will not only challenge the legitimacy of the IMF, but will damage the leadership of the G20 as well. And there have been many talks going on about how this reform can be done without the involvement of the United States. But the fund at this point is not willing to circumvent the U.S. And the managing director of the IMF, Christine Lagarde, said in the press conference, quote, "I don't think that our institution should move to Plan B until we have full certainty and massive disappointment that Plan A is definitely dead." And the G20 meeting has set a deadline for the United States, which is the end of this year. Finance chiefs around the globe have urged the U.S. Congress to ratify the reform before the year-end deadline. And if it fails to do so, the member countries will call on IMF to build on existing work and develop options to move forward. Back to you.
Thank you very much. Our reporter Zhou Ying in Washington, D.C.